for joining me today. I'm excited to have you on. For anyone who doesn't know who I'm speaking with, would you just do a little bit of introduction for everyone here?
Yeah, no problem. My name is Tyler James. I'm an artist and a songwriter and a player, and I play for different artists, and I make my own music, and I do all sorts of things, but guitar player, singer, artist, producer, whatever.
Sick.
And an old bandmate of with you, Drew.
A longtime friend.
Yeah,
we've been friends now and playing together. Well, we haven't played together in a while, but we've been friends for decade at least. College.
I'm not exactly
it's been
sure
at least
when I
10
met
years.
you. Probably, maybe you're like 11 or so. I don't know exactly when we met, but it was definitely a little more than 10 years ago.
Well,
so.
Friends, Foes, and Failures came out 10 years ago. So
okay, so did Wishing Well.
yeah. So it's been at least 10 years because
crazy.
That's it seems like forever ago. But now we're in a pandemic and we're locked in our house, so we can't even play music anyway. But
right.
we can talk about it, which is fun. So
yes, we can.
Yeah. I would say kind of get started. Give everyone a little rig rundown. So we do that from start to finish. But I've known you for a very long time, so I kind of already know where you started. But I always like to have the timeline for it. So when you first started playing live shows, so I'm gonna say maybe even pre-Still Frame Sky rig.
Yeah,
like first playable rig.
We're going back to like high school then.
So the way through what you play now while you tour.
My first, oh man, oh I should have written all this
as
down.
much as you can. I know you haven't changed that much, but I know you got some good stuff in there.
At first, the first amp that I was really using to gig, it was I don't even know exactly what it was. It was a Randall head though, or, the Randalls.
Was that the punk phase, hardcore phase?
Yeah, I got it when it was probably 2003, 2004. I got one of those, like a half stack, and I was using that, and then like with Still Frame Sky, and then I borrowed Tony, our bandmate. He had a 6505 head. And I started using that because I was like, it's funny because like Still Frame Sky, like we had a couple songs that were like harder, but it's funny because it was like kind of melodic and like not heavy music, but I was like, 6505, crank it, and
scoop them mids.
yeah, who needs mids, man? And that was kind of like what I was using then, and gosh. As far as pedals go, I had like a tuner.
We kept it pretty simple. I know you got me to get a DD20. I remember. No, was that? Yes, that was you.
Yeah, probably. I always tell people about that. But then once Still Frame Sky started doing more stuff, we started playing and got a little more serious. And I actually got a Vox Valvetronics VTX amp. It was like one of those modeling amps, but it was a step up from what I had, and as far as the tone goes, and it had one of those pedals that goes with it with an Ethernet cable, and you can like program like 100 or whatever different tones, and so I used that for all my tones and effects, and like that was cool, but eventually it sort of crapped out, and that's when I stepped up to what the world that I'm in now that I really love, and that's the world of like just true tube amps, and that's when I got my first Hot Rod DeVille, and that created the need for me to start getting pedals, and I started getting like at first it was just a tuner and a blues driver and my Hot Rod DeVille, and I was using that with Still Frame for a while, and then gosh, I don't know if I
That's
really
where
added
I remember
much.
You had the SG.
Yeah, the SG.
Then you had the white. Then you had the white telly.
Right, I had so I've had the SG since I don't know. I was like 14. I've had that for a long time. That's actually almost 20 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
So I've had my SG for almost 20 years, and that was what I used first. But yeah, then I got the white telly, But then I traded the white Telly in to get my Telly Deluxe, the reissue, 72 reissue Deluxe. And that's been like that's been what I use for ever since I got it. I've used it for probably 95% of everything I've done in any genre. So, you know, anything rock, I use that. For all the country shows I did in Nashville, it was super twangy and awesome if I needed it to be. And, you know, it can do whatever I needed it to do. So I just love that guitar because of the hum. They're like the humbucking pickups that aren't really humbuckers, but they're not. And I love them because they give me a lot of options with, you know, when I flip my switch. So I've used that guitar for almost everything I've done since I got it. That was about 2010 when I got that. And around that time is when I started adding more to my pedal board. You know, I got like, I think I had like a regular like Boss delay. I don't know what their standard delay is.
DD7?
Yeah, something like that. I had one of those, and I loved my blues driver. I used that a lot. And the reverb, the Holy Grail Plus reverb, I've used that pretty much since then. And yeah, I was using that DeVille for a while, and then I traded it down to get a smaller one. I just got a Hot Rod Deluxe, which it's a good amp, but I liked the tone from the DeVille better personally.
Moving more air with
something about there was more clarity. I don't know. It was just I loved it, but and then I moved to Nashville, and my pedal board was kept expanding, and then that's when I got one of these, the orange Tiny Terror combo, and then that pretty much for a while I was using it. Both that amp and my Hot Rod Deluxe, I was using them both. I was with a band, we were called the Tailgaters. We played a lot of country music. We were a Nashville band. We played a lot of country music. We did a lot of stuff. I was like, yeah, you're hiring me to go on the road full time? Sweet, let's go. So like, that's what I was doing for a while. And I had both amps, you know, the clean Fender amp, and I had my orange for just screaming overdrive. And eventually, out of convenience, I started mostly just using that, because in Nashville, if I was like going to downtown to do a gig real quick, it was really easy to throw that in the back of my car. Sure. You know, it's tiny. It's literally called a Tiny Terror.
Wonder how they came up with that.
Yeah. But after that, I pretty much started using it for almost everything. I'd figured out all the ways to start really riding my volume knob on my guitar if I needed to clean it up. And, you know, contrary to popular belief, you can definitely get pretty good chimey clean tone out of an orange amp. It's just a matter of how you're digging into the strings and where your volume knob's at. But because of that, it gave me so much flexibility. It's so responsive to what I do with my volume knob. And how hard I play and all that I've ended up using it for so much stuff. And now I actually have two of them, just because it's sweet, and also because I need a backup, and I like to have the same thing. So, and that's pretty much it. As far as pedals go, I don't go too crazy with pedals. I do most of what I need with a few basics. I have the MXR Dynacomp that is like my sustain solo compression pedal. The Wampler Euphoria, gives it the extra push I need if I want to start getting more aggressive with the tone. The DD500, the Boss DD500, that's probably
the big boy.
Yeah, it's so good. So many different presets. You can save everything, and man, the effects on it are so good. I got it years ago, and I'm still learning what it can do because it's so versatile. The MXR carbon copy delay, I love using that, and you can get all sorts of cool oscillating effects when you play around with the knobs. And the Bbe Sonic Stomp, actually, I think you introduced me to this.
For very, very long. I don't even use that anymore. That's pretty cool that you still have it.
You introduced me to that, and ever since I got the first one, actually probably back in the Radio Empire days, I have used it at every single gig. because
Really?
it
Like just
does.
as a boost?
Yeah. Well, no, I leave it on. It's just.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I leave it on because it takes all the whole. It's hard to explain what it does other than it just makes it sound better. I don't know, like it rounds off the low end in a way that brings out all the richness, but it's not muddy, and then the high end is sparkly, but it doesn't hurt your ear. It's great. And that's pretty much it. I don't use a lot of reverb. If I need reverb for a show, I might fake it with like 2 different delays on top of each other or something like that. And the Digitech Whammy is the only Digitech pedal that I own, and at first I was like, well, I don't want to get a Digitech pedal, but it's the only one that does it. So if you want to do
those
like,
are great pedals,
it's awesome. And you know, what convinced me, it was like, you know what, if Tom Morello and Jack White use this pedal, then it's good enough for me, you know, like
of course.
So that's kind of my philosophy on that, but and it's amazing, you know, it's a unique sound. That's the only pedal that does that, right? Like the whammy pitch shifting chord change thing. Yeah. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's I guess that was like always the thing with I noticed, like, you kept it, out of everyone I know, you kept it the simplest, which is, you know, never a bad thing in this type of, you know, especially when you're touring that much. Keeping it simple is always helpful.
There are less things that can go wrong. And also, like, man, I'm not like a tech person. I mean, computers and stuff, definitely not. Dealing with digital effects pedals and analog pedals and all that, I can do that, but I like to reduce the amount of things that could potentially go wrong.
Sure. No, absolutely.
And just keep it simple, you know.
Yep. No, I totally get that.
I have to turn my AC off because it's running and it's bothering me right now. Can you hear it?
Go ahead. No, I can't hear it at all.
Okay, I'm going to shut it off.
I have a fan on me. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
No, but whenever I'm recording here and, like, it's, you know, I'm going through this mic, it just, like, amplifies everything that's going on in the room. So.
Yeah, I have a fan on me, but this is it's directional, so it's
nice.
blowing to the side of it, but not into it. So I'm kosher. All right, so yeah, so one thing I did want to know, because I obviously keep up with what you're doing. So you just put out, Nice Ghost was just putting out some music. Now I was gonna ask you. So you're the touring guitar player for the Rocket Summer. That's what your last gig was, obviously, before.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, since the Rocket Summer's not like a band, it's Bryce doing his thing,
of course.
You know? But the last couple tours I've gone out.
I've
gone out with him, and it's been pretty awesome.
So in regards to the difference between what you play as far as instrument-wise with the Rocket Summer versus what you do with Nice Ghost, do you feel like there's a lot of similarities, or are you keeping the two very separate as far as like the sound that you go, I guess, of the amp?
It honestly, as far as like the amp goes, I kind of have like a setting that I like to just go with, and I use that for everything. I use it for my own stuff. I use it for any of the touring stuff with Bryce, and I use it, you know, my cover band, Foo Flannels. Like, I just kind of get it set where the gain is somewhere close to the middle, and I can, you know, then with my other pedals and my knobs, I can get any tone that I really need out of it. So a lot of it, you know, I mean, since so much of it is coming out of this amp with, you know, like, again, 95% of the time I'm using my Tele Deluxe, it's, you know, there's some similarity there, but the big changes come in, like, if I'm using a unique effect like the whammy pedal or like a heavy delay or something like that, then I have to rely on that effect to do that for me. But the rest of everything else is like, you know, if I want to sound more aggressive, then I turn the volume up, or I dig in harder with my pick, and I just do it that way a lot of the time. So
yeah, that's cool. Like I said, if it works, it works. What brings me to a discussion we've never had before is like we talk about, you're more for cutting out a lot, like a good amount of the fluff, just so you can keep it simple. With everything that's kind of, I guess, transpired over the last few years, do you have any consideration to go to a modeling amp, like a Kemper or an Axe FX?
I've thought about it. But I'm not yet convinced that it can give me the responsiveness that I'm used to out of the amps that I use.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried them, and like they do sound really good. Especially the Kemper sounds really good.
Incredible.
It's awesome modeling amp. It's as good as it can get. But it's just, I don't know. I haven't crossed over yet, and I've thought about it, but then I see the price tag, and then I think like, yeah, the price tag is this much, but after it's been on the market for a couple years, it's actually going to be worth this much.
Correct.
And
No,
I'm like,
yeah, that's
I don't know if I want to spend that much. Like,
yeah, that's definitely one of the things with like a modeler is a tube amp holds its value for a fairly long time. Like they kind of bottom out at a specific point or like plateau where they're not going to get cheaper, right?
Right.
But I feel like the more, just like with computers, like the more advancements you get with a computer, the cheaper your computer becomes, right?
Right. As soon as there's a new iPhone out, the last iPhone gets a massive price drop.
Correct. Yeah. So I agree with you there. I'm just for like ease of tour, like that's what I've seen a lot of people go to Kempers just because it's like it's in a rack case and you just carry it with you and that's it.
That would be, I've thought about that, and like on the last bigger tour that I did when I was playing with Rocket Summer, I'm carrying my amps around and all that, and I'm just like, man, if I were just plugging
6-unit rack case and that's all.
Like I mean that would be easy, and sound engineers for live shows love that kind of thing because it gives them total control over the volume and everything. There's no worry about stage volume, and but yeah, I don't know. If I ended up doing it, I'd probably complicate it, and I would probably end up running it through a cab of some sort with a speaker that I really like, just so that I could have it moving some air and have a little bit of stage volume.
But that's what I know you have always been a big one to push flipping your amp. Because you always, like, for your tours now, obviously you're fully mic'd, you have full sound.
Right.
So you run your amp backwards. You run it off stage for no stage volume other than your monitor or your in-ears.
Right. And that's, like, our sound engineer pretty much always, like, appreciates that kind of thing. And anywhere that I've played with the tailgaters and stuff like that, they all really appreciated that I was, isolating it and doing that, because they get a lot of guitar players. I mean, guitar players, man. I mean, there's something nice about, you strum your guitar and you can feel it, it vibrates the stage and all that. There's a lot of power in that and it feels good. But yeah, like live, a lot of the live sound engineers that I've worked with have really liked having them isolated. And then we run it. I actually have one of my in-ears in right now, which is essential if you're isolating your amp off stage somewhere or something like that. You got to be able to hear it, and I hate wedge monitors, so but yeah, I like that. And another benefit of that is you can crank it a little. You can give it some of that that really hearty tube saturation that you get with volume, but it's not creating a problem where it's making the mics feedback on stage or anything like that. So
it's smart.
Yeah. So I turn this all the way up pretty much. I mean, it's 50. I run it on 15 watts, which is not a lot. So I turn it all the way up, and it's fine. So
it's got the nice V30 in there. So it sounds good. Correct. Yeah, man. So this was a question I wanted to have. If we were to do a Radio Empire reunion, do you think you would play? And let's say we're going back to our basement days or our like fire hall days and shit like that. Do you think our rigs or your rig now would still be as functional as it is for when you're playing your full venue shows, like your sold out Rocket Summer show or like your Foo Flannel fully mic'd show?
I think so, but I would probably bring my other orange, and I'd probably have them both going.
Sure.
So that I could, because like if it's not being mic'd and you're in a smaller place, then you have to rely on stage volume, and you want a little power. But I mean, I've played quite a few shows, like especially like with my cover band, the Foo Flannels. We you know, we've played some like corner dive bars where we're like, you know, the room is tiny and the people are right in front of us. And this, it's not like they're mic and stuff like that there. And this has been more than enough to, it still cuts across and you can hear it over the drums and, you know, all that. But you know, it just depends on what everybody else in the band is doing too.
Sure.
So like if we were doing a show and you rolled in with a half stack, I would absolutely use both of my amps, or
I'd lend you a cab.
Yeah, I could do that and then run it through cab, or use that, and then I still have a Hot Rod DeVille again. I could run that, you know, and the orange just so. But it would all just depend on what you brought and what everybody else in the band.
Don't worry,
had,
I have 212s. I'll just use a 212. We'll be fine.
Great, yeah. Then we'll both have 212s. So that's what I would do.
That's what's up. That's good. No, that's what because I know I've never played. I always played with you with your hot rod.
Right.
Never got to do the orange because I think you got that when you moved to
Nashville.
Yeah.
I got that in Nashville. Yep.
So that was after some Erie days. So that's always fun. Do you miss touring and going to Sheets?
Yeah. I miss, man, dude, like Sheets among like we love Sheets because we're from the land of Sheets, you know, and it's good because we like, you know, we knew about it and I was like, oh, it's cool. You don't have this very many other places. But once I really got into like touring culture, like everybody knows about Sheets. It's like, it's the thing where like you're on a tour with people from all over the country and they're like, dude, there's a Sheets at this stop. And you got to like stock up on, you know, chili cheese dogs and those really good fries.
The best fries.
Dude. Oh. And they're open 24 hours. So like, you know, a lot of stuff's closed and you're touring in your hotel or wherever is in a small town in Nebraska or, you know, wherever you are. Well, actually, no, there wouldn't be Sheets in Nebraska, but Virginia. Let's say Virginia.
Let's go Virginia.
And like the Sheets is going to be open and you can go and stock up on awesome food.
Dude, best drunk food.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there's Wawa too, which I really like Wawa for the sandwiches.
Yeah, we have to like bite our tongue about Wawa because this is To All the Crowded Rooms is based out of Philly. So if we talk bad on Wawa, everyone's gonna hate me and you. But
right.
I
like the sandwiches from Wawa.
I like the coffee and the sandwiches. Yeah. And I think we have a bias because we grew up near Sheets. So that's
right.
That's where
it's nostalgic.
No hate to the Wawa, as Artemis says in It's Always Sunny.
Both will save your life on the road.
Correct. Agreed. Not Co-Fare or Quick Fill.
No.
That's only an Erie thing. Nobody else will get that joke but us.
Right, no.
So, you know, in the spirit of the kind of going off the cuff here, I brought this up to you earlier. I do this on every segment. It's called Use, Abuse, and Trash, and I did kind of go over this with you. So what it is I'm going to give you 3 pieces of gear, from amps to guitars to random things, and you either get to use it. It's like fuck, marry, kill. You either get to use it, which means for forever, that piece of gear, you can play it.
That's the one, and you're always using it, right?
And it's perfect. It'll never
Don't
break.
Have to get it fixed. Okay.
It'll never get dirty. It's perfect.
Okay.
Abuse is you get to use that piece of gear, but it's gonna get the shit kicked out of it, and eventually it's gonna get fucked, right?
Right.
And then trash is you can never use it again. Throw it out. It's dead.
Use, abuse, and trash. Okay.
All right.
That's cool.
So we'll keep it simple.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll start with a Les Paul.
Okay.
An SG.
Okay.
Or an SJ200, which is their acoustic. So Gibson products.
Ooh. Okay. I would use the Les Paul. I like Les Pauls. I like how they look. I like how they feel in my hand. They're a little heavy, but I'm lifting, so whatever. Yeah, I would probably use the Les Paul. I'd abuse the acoustic. I would just bang on it and jam on it and let it get bumps and bruises, because I tend to do that with my acoustics, because that's what what you grab in the middle of the night when you have an idea. So I'd probably abuse the acoustic, and then I'd get rid of the SG.
Which is funny because you have an SG.
I have an SG. I really like it too. It's a good guitar, but
between the three.
Between those three, yeah, I mean, I probably would do that. And also, I could use the excuse of, well, I already have an SG, so I don't need it, and toss it.
That's true. That's good. I can get behind that. All right, so we got a Strat, a standard Telly, and your Telly Deluxe.
A Strat, a standard Telly, and a Telly Deluxe. I would trash the standard Telly. I would... I would abuse the Strat.
So some Stevie Ray Vaughan looking Strats?
Yeah, I'd dig in and play the blues on that and be ugly with it. And I would use the 72, because that's just like that's my favorite guitar. I love it. And now actually I'll show you mine. Like, it's not perfect. There's a lot of there's all sorts of bumps and bruises and
there's
scrapes.
Some patina on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's had
You've used it.
Yeah, I've really used it. It's fallen over on stage a million times. It's like, and there are times when I can't even imagine that I did this, but I have, where like, the crowd is lit up and it's good and the vibe is really awesome, and then like strumming a chord, but instead of just strumming the chord, I hold my guitar out here and just start hitting it. We
have videos of you doing that.
Really?
But it was with the white Telly, I think. No,
okay.
It was with that one.
Yeah,
we played the Hangout.
Yeah, I've done that a lot, and it like looks really cool, but I'm always a little worried, because this is like my baby.
Dude, if it's made it this far, it's fine.
Yeah, and now it's got all this cool, real road worn character.
Yeah, some relicking to it.
Yeah. I took it to get fixed. I took, I was getting the action set up and some electronics looked at and all that. And the guy was like, "Oh, I see you've done some relicking on this." And I'm like, "Dude, no."
20 years of playing it.
Yeah. Very gradual relicking.
Yeah, some actual relicking. Yeah. So I would agree. I love. I don't have. They don't make 72. They do 72 Tellys lefty, which is always fun for me.
Oh yeah.
So I'd have to buy an actual. Yeah. So we're not doing that right now. But the next one, you got your orange Tiny Terror.
Okay.
Your DeVille. And your Deluxe.
Okay, I'd probably trash the Deluxe, because I just like the DeVille. If it's a DeVille with a 212.
Not the 410.
Not a 410, yeah. If it's a 410, I'll take the Deluxe. But if it's a 212 DeVille, I will abuse that, because you can literally take a hot rod DeVille and throw it down the Grand Canyon and plug it in and it still works.
Sure.
So I would abuse that, because I'd still get a lot of use out of it, and I would use the Tiny Terror, because I just know it's like my favorite little workhorse, and I love it. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking your answer would be on that one. All right, so last question. These are your things.
Okay.
Your SG.
Okay.
Your 72 Telecaster.
Okay.
Or, and you may have to correct me on this, your grandfather's Martin.
Yeah. Okay. I'm keeping and using the Martin in as good a condition as I can.
What year is it?
It's a 1918.
Jeez.
Or no, sorry. It's a D18. It's a 1947. Sorry.
It's still
47 D18.
You're pushing 80 years on the thing.
Yeah. I don't even. It's not even here. It's not with me.
It's in Cambridge Springs.
It's locked up in a private, undisclosed location, because I'm not like.
It's
right, yeah, it's buried behind a sheets somewhere in Virginia. No, it's
no, but it's in Nebraska.
It's locked away somewhere, because it's special to me, and I've used it only for very special things, like on the Radio Empire record. I brought it into the studio and did any acoustic parts with that guitar.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I played that record probably more than any other record
Really?
live.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that you
Yep.
did that.
That was a Martin. So the Martin, definitely, that's the keeper. I will abuse the 72. Wait, that was the other one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, use, abuse, and you're throwing
And
out
then-
that SG.
Still throwing out the SG, even though I still get use out of it. It's my guitar that's in C standard, so whenever I need to do anything crazy that requires you be in C standard, that's what my Gibson is for. So
Yeah, wishing well. We just play wishing
Right,
well.
right.
Actually, we were half step drop.
we were half step
C-sharp.
drop, yeah.
Yeah.
She's C sharp, drop C sharp or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's all the way down to full C standard, so it's like two whole steps down.
Tasty.
Yeah, I
like
need I need heavy strings that hurt my fingers, or else it just doesn't even strum.
It doesn't make noise. You need bass
Yeah.
strings.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. I appreciate you coming on. This is obviously the part where you got a lot of stuff going on, so plug away. You've been very active during quarantine, so.
Yeah, well, I guess the main thing that really matters to me right now is I have an album called Digital, and I go by the name Nice Ghost, and actually I have it right here. Ta-da.
There it is. Oh, you got physical prints.
Oh yes.
Very nice.
These aren't actually, at the time of filming this, these are not on the market yet. Stockpiling merchandise so I can launch the merch store all at once.
That's fair. It's a good way
but
to do it.
I did just release this album. It's available on, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Deezer, whatever you use to listen to your music. It should be there for streaming and download. My website, niceghostmusic.com. You can purchase it there. It's on Bandcamp. I'm trying to make sure that it's as available as possible, but yep, the album is called Digital. It's by Nice Ghost. I played everything on it. I wrote everything on it. I produced it at home myself. So I put an insane amount of work in it. I'm super proud of it. Glad that it's out, and I hope that people like it. It's like 10 genres at the same time. So
I love it. Thank you, man.
thank you.